Hey, welcome back to Just Jealous. This is your host, Crazy Nate, and we're at the Late Nate Show. I'm gonna show you what I did so far. Here's what we're looking at here. There's mold down here all at the bottom, all along the edge of the walls. Like this wall is shared with the house, so there's no mold on this side. But basically, this wall, and that wall, they all had mold in them. But anywho, they do a lot of really dumb stuff who used to live here. This is a support beam. And basically, they cut through all your support beams just to run one little power outlet that much closer. And yes, that power outlet didn't work either. So the insulation is gonna get ripped out. All these windows are trash. They're either the seal's broken or the trim needs to be redone. And I'm gonna make this wall right here the green screen. So I'm just gonna bust all those windows out and then I'm gonna close this up. So it's gonna be one flat wall with a nice curve down at the bottom so you don't get shadowing. So they had carpet and then they put wood laminate on top of the carpet. So the laminate was messed up too. So the laminate got ripped off and they have this extra little stage right here. They did seem to build the stage right. But for my purposes, I want the whole floor to be the same level. So that's gonna get ripped up. You can see a little black cable right here. That's actually like a 50 amp cable that's running out to a different part of the building for RV hookup. So we're gonna have to disconnect that. AC vents, actually heater vents, gonna disconnect those and push them further up here. So there'll probably be, I'll leave that one there and I'll probably make the second one over here somewhere. These two shelvings are gonna get ripped out. They're disgusting. And then we have solid doors all around with deadbolts. So we're gonna get the thickest R insulation we can find. I believe that was R19 for the area. And then the drywall will get replaced. The ceiling will be fine. We'll leave the ceiling, but I have a popcorn ceiling sander. So we'll try that out and see how that works. Get rid of the popcorn. And all the walls from the edge of the ceiling down will be replaced with new insulation, new moisture barrier, and new drywall. The drywall that I'm picking out is water and mold resistant. It doesn't mean it can't get mold, but it slows down the process of getting mold. First thing we need to do is rip the whole floor out and strip it down bare. Another thing we're gonna do later on is we're gonna epoxy the flooring. Up here we have a thing called radon we have to worry about. It comes up from the ground. Epoxy helps. It's not the best, but it helps prevent radon from coming through the concrete, from what I've researched at least. And so that's what we're gonna do with that. It'll be a nice glossy black, not moldy black, glossy black. And we'll have to sand the concrete. It's baby smooth, so it's a nice, pretty, shiny thing. And then you got a power cable just dangling there. Thankfully, we've tested it. It's not hot, but that's gotta be removed. And of course, there was mold and rot behind those boards, so they had to come out. Even if you think it looked pretty, it had to go. And then we replaced this door. It had a disgusting door. I'll show you a picture of what it looked like before. The doggy door wasn't centered and it's glass, so not the most secure. And also, when you're in a studio, you want to control your light source. So having a giant glass door doesn't work. And yes, that's still an issue. We have to figure out what to do with that glass window. I like having some natural light in, but we can't have too much light that we can't control. All these glass windows, like I said before, won't be there anymore. We will just close this up with a wall on both sides. There's not gonna be any power outlets or coax cables. All that will get ripped out. We'll have a power on this side, a power on that side, and the green screen will be right in the middle. So then the camera can sit right about here. And then this whole section here will be a video editing bay. Obviously, all the electrical outlets need to be replaced. Some of them look like they caught fire before. Some of them, the wires came loose in the back. There's even a few that were wired backwards. So the next step here, we have this upper stage area. And basically what we have is the heater vent that needs to get ripped back to at least right there. And then that giant 50 amp cable needs to be unplugged from the breaker box. And then you'll see we actually have power outlets that were wired backwards down there and right here. So I gotta find the source of those and disconnect it completely. We don't want anything hot, electrical hot underneath this as we start ripping the stage apart. And then there's also a water line coming out right here, and it looks like a septic line right there. Probably a sink or something was there at some point. So all that's gonna have to get removed. That's the next step. that and ripping out the drywall. I'll go ahead and see if I can charge up a GoPro and get some time-lapse footage here for you so if you want to watch that.
So you'll see in this side, up high, the insulation's not really rotted or anything. By the fireplace, it's a little bit dirty. And where those lanterns were, they actually had wiring going back there. So they must have had some sort of wall lights or something in the past. But they weren't actually even centered or evenly spaced from the fireplace. But all that's going to get ripped out later anyways. And the bottom half of this, the wood that touches the floor wasn't treated wood. It was just normal wood. And getting all the nails and drywall, the curves out. I'll rip all the electrical out. I basically rewire this entire room. I don't leave any of the old wires in. Had to use a mask during this because it was terrible with obviously mold going through the air and rodent poop and dust, drywall dust, insulation dust. And then this is the famous wall from the last video that we find out there's an entire world of mice in here. We got a little nest right here. You have a road right here. It goes all the way down. Hanging out down here. So this is actually going to be the movie closet in the future to hold all the DVDs, Blu-rays, and video games. And even I might put my YouTube play button in here. So they had a little shelf up high. I wanted to rip it out just to make it more grandiose of a movie closet. And I can pack more movies in that way. So that little shelf had to go. Otherwise, it would have been a weird pocket of unused space. Some of this, like the drywall looks good on both sides. I rip it out anyways because I put soundproof insulation even on this wall just because I wanted to help dampen the room as much as possible because echo is going to be my enemy in this room. And so I'm trying to reduce the echo as much as possible and also dampen the sound from outside or inside the house going into the studio. And as disgusting as the house was, I just figured it'd be as cheap as drywall is, it'd be better to just go ahead and replace all the drywall. And that is one full dumpster of moldy products. So yeah, I just figured it'd be better just to put all new fresh drywall in. You don't have to worry about what's behind it. And also because so many projects in this house, it's like a surprise moment. You don't know what you're getting into until you open the wall. So I figured it's better safe than sorry to make sure that there's no surprises. Just like in that one little spot, there's a little bit of mouse droppings and mouse tunnels even right there. But it wasn't as dramatic as the one in the movie closet, so I just left it. The closet up here, this one's going to be for a little bit of prop storage. It's not a huge closet, so not too much is going to be done with it. And this wall right here, it wasn't too bad. It was actually probably the cleanest part of the whole room as far as behind the wall. But again, I want to do soundproof insulation. You can see they didn't even have a full insulation, and it was a little dirty at the bottom. So I'll put soundproof insulation in that whole section. And regardless, I'm going to rerun the wiring anyways. All the walls that touch the exterior all had mold and disgustingness. So here we go with that. So got this device. I'll put a link for it in the description. You plug one into the power outlet that you're looking for, and then you just run it through. You're gonna get a couple false signals at first, and you're just running it through, and then eventually it'll find the one that's the real one. And this is giving false signals probably because it's garbage Harbor Freight. So clearly this is our breaker right here. Kill that, and we shouldn't have anything on the other end now. And you have the little circuit breaker in right here, and if it did have power, the red light would be on, and that's what was sending the signal to this on the other end. That was me bumping the button. So now we know this is dead because the little red light right there is not on. Now for me, I don't trust anything from Harbor Freight that involves my life, so I just get one of these from Amazon. And that also, you push the little button right here, and then you can touch a wire and it'll tell you if the wire is hot. It's not always accurate, but two mostly accurate things, both saying the same thing. So you plug it in, something would light up here saying whether or not there's power in it. So clearly, we don't have any power in this outlet. And then we'll go down to this one, which they should be daisy chained off each other. So this one is dead as well. Yeah, so they are now good to rip out. So now we have this 50 amp cable right here. I'm gonna push the little button here, and we know it's piping hot. And to show a difference, here's the cable we just disconnected. This is what I'm talking about false positives. Sometimes it does that. Just like so many other things in this house, look at the wiring for this massive 50 amp cable going through the floor. It's just barely dangling there with electrical tape. Well, that's how it came when I bought the house. Crazy. So there you go. We have the walls, the insulation, the mouse homes, and the weird stage all ripped out. And next time we're going to be rearranging the server room and the entryway to the attic, so that way it's not right above the server room. And look at that cute little dog just checking out the inventory. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next video showing you how to make your own home YouTube studio. Thanks for watching. You're awesome that you're still here. Thank you. You watched all the way through.